About a year, maybe a year and a half ago, Kathy and I put together an interesting van conversion that folks have been asking about since then, and I've been wanting to put together a video on this, just a short little introductory video on this for quite some time, and just have never gotten around to it until today. And I figured today was the day, and so we're gonna talk through what this interesting conversion has been about. Why we did some of the things we did, some of the decisions we made, and just give you a quick little tour of the van here in just a moment. It's a little unusual in that it's a conversion on a Ford Transit low roof van. Most of the conversion videos you'll see are done on mid roof or the high roof versions of these vans, either the Mercedes or the Dodge or the Ford, but we wanted to do one on a low roof van, and we'll talk a bit more about why that is, but why we made that decision. But so we'll take a quick tour through this and show you what was done and how it all came out and how it works for us. So come on along for the short little trip here, and let's get started. What you're seeing behind me here is kind of the subject of the video here. This is you'll see in a moment, a conversion on a pretty stock van, actually. This is the Ford Transit low roof van. It's a 2022, and there's nothing unique about it. There's been no special features added to it. It is on their 350 platform, so it's the heavier platform. It's a 1 ton, and all black, as you see, with black wheels, which makes it a little stealthy, I guess. And the size of it doesn't catch your attention a lot when you're running down the road, which is one of the things that we wanted to be, if you will, and that is kind of a little on the stealthy side, not wanting to draw attention to ourselves. And the other thing that we wanted, which was a big factor for us, is it was important for us that it fit in the garage, and takes more of a barn to get a mid roof or certainly a high roof transit van into a garage. But these guys, these low roof versions, they fit nicely into a standard residential garage. So we'll just do a quick little walk around on it, and again, you'll see there's kind of nothing really special on the outside. The work obviously was all done on the inside, and so let's go take a peek at what that was all about. Most of our travel is to and from Colorado, or maybe to and from a beach somewhere. We live in central Indiana and have grandchildren in Colorado and some other interests out there that we like to go and visit when we can. And that drive is 18 hours door to door, and it used to be that we could drive that pretty comfortably. For years we drove that very comfortably and not really challenged by it. But as the years go by, we get a little older, and that became not as comfortable as it once was. And so we had the idea that if we could drive 10, 12 hours, pull into a rest stop or some safe place on whatever road we're driving at the time, find a nice safe place to spend the night, pull over, be comfortable with Kathy and I and the dog Louie. If we could make something that would kind of meet that need, that'd be all that we would need. And so that was the idea behind this van. So let's take a peek inside. It's pretty straightforward. The infrastructure that the van is made of is a product called 80/20. It's an extruded aluminum product. And you'll see the framework for Louie's crate that we'll come back to here in a second is of one dimension, if you will, and then the basic structure of the van is a slightly heavier duty version of 80/20, and it's not light. This stuff's got some weight to it, but it's a very, very sturdy, just real stable, and So it meets our need really well. With a 1-ton platform, frankly, I got to tell you, weight wasn't an issue. This thing will haul anything we could throw in it and then some. So it's not overly heavy, but we were not concerned about weight as we put this thing together. The skin that you see on the outside, the black, and then the wood top on that, and the handles and such, that's all attached to that 80/20 infrastructure. In fact, if you kind of turn around the corner here and look into the van, you'll see more of that infrastructure back there. And again, all of the wood that you see is attached directly to a piece of 80/20. So it is, when you get all done with it, it is one thing that sits in this van. This unit is not separate from this unit over here. They're all tied together as this thing wraps around and through the van, which adds to its stability quite a bit. One of the things that folks find, I think, amazing about this, interesting about it for sure, is if you step into this thing and get a hold of any piece of furniture in it, it just does not move. Running down the road, there is not a rattle in this van. For all the work that was done in it, it is actually rattle free. And this is after a year and a half of having it on the road with us. There's just no rattle from it. And you kind of hear that and you say, well, okay, I could see how that could be, because you could tie this stuff down to the van, the structure of the van in a lot of places, and that would do that. Well, the interesting thing about this build is we challenged ourselves and challenged a guy that helped us put this together to not penetrate the van's skin unless we absolutely had to. And as it turns out, all of this infrastructure you're looking at is tied to the van in only 2 places. You've got to go all the way around to the back of the van to see this, but all of this infrastructure that you're looking at, all of this infrastructure that you can see kind of working its way around this van, 2 points of attachment to the van. There's one here and there's one here, and that's to hold to keep the infrastructure from sliding forward as you move down the road. And that's all that's in there. The rest of it is just kind of engineered and fitted, if you will, to stand alone in the van and not move and not rattle. The guy that came up with this, that executed this for us, was a real interesting combination of skills. A friend of ours, his name is Chris Baer, and Chris is an engineer by trade. He runs a CNC business, and so he's an engineer in his professional background, but he's also a tiny home builder. And he's quite the craftsman when it comes to finishing wood and such. And so he was a really, really unique, perfect blend of skills and interests for us when we started looking into this conversion. Chris is a friend, and we had chatted with him as we got into this whether he'd be interested in helping with this. And as you might imagine, a guy wired up like that, he was eager to jump into it. And I have to give credit where it's due. Most of what you see in here is the engineering and the artistry of Chris Baer. He was just a really perfect match for us as we put this together. So let's explore some of the features in the van, some of the things that are in here. We'll start right here. This pedestal cabinet here is a water supply, so we do have running water in the van. You throw a little switch right here, and you've got running water in the van, which is real nice for mornings or evenings when you just want to freshen up a little bit. That's pretty much all we need. It is cold water only. You could have hot water and cold water. We opted not to go that route right now, and frankly the cold water is fine with us. We can heat water in the van different ways, and I'll tell you about that in a second, but this is fine for us. And this little pedestal cabinet holds 2 water tanks, a fresh water and a gray water tank, and more than enough water for us. I think the tanks are 5-gallon tanks. I think we travel with 4 gallons of fresh water on board, which for an overnight or two is more than enough for us. And it's real easy to change the water out or add water if you need to. This little cabinet right here opens up, and then you've got your fresh water on one side, your gray water on the other, and it just rides very comfortably in there, and the pump fits down in the fresh water, and you're kind of off and running. A couple of other interesting features in the van that we had kind of highlighted as things that we would need to kind of accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. One is there's a pantry here where when you're traveling, we keep food in here, and that's where the toaster goes, and a little induction cooktop that runs off a power supply we'll talk about here in a moment. And so that all rides comfortably in there, and so when it's time for dinner, you open that up and you pull out whatever appliances you might need, and you can have something as simple as cheese and crackers in the evening, or a bowl of soup, or a cup of hot chocolate, or whatever you might want to do, and that's all available out of the pantry. In the morning, you get your Pop-Tarts out and you throw them in the toaster, and you're off and running if that's your thing. And it all latches up and just rides real quiet back here. The other, maybe most important thing in the van is in this cabinet there is a full-size toilet. And this is a dry flush toilet. There is absolutely no odor from this. Use it as you will, and when you hit the flush button, it acts like the diaper genie of days gone by, and wraps up whatever it has in it and pushes it down to the bottom and opens up a new space for you, if you will, and you're on down the road. And it is just really, really nice to have something like this on board if you're going to be out for a couple of days. And again, latches up and just rides nice and quiet right there. So let's talk about sleeping facilities here real quick. It's in its position right now. It's kind of a running down the road. You want to stop and have a nice little break. You can sit here on one of these seats, and you've got this nice little countertop here to work off of, and so it's real comfortable for kind of daytime travel and use, if you will. And then come nightfall, what happens is there are a couple of mattresses here. There's the one you see on the bottom right here, and then just above it in this position right now is another identical mattress in terms of how it's made. It's a traditional foam on the bottom, memory foam on top, and what happens is for night, this centerpiece slides out like this, comes all the way out to these cabinets. You pull that top mattress down, it lays right here, and you've got effectively almost a king-size bed in here. And it sleeps very, very well. We came into this thinking, hey, maybe we'd sleep 4 or 5 hours and then kind of get up and bleary-eyed and kind of finish the rest of the trip. As it turns out, after a year and a half now, we're actually sleeping in here 7, 8 hours a night, which kind of surprises us a little bit. But the van stays comfortable, and the mattress setup is very comfortable, and so we're sleeping every bit as well as we might at home, frankly. Then in the daytime, when you're ready to rock and roll again, you pick the mattress up off here, you put it on top into its kind of daytime position. You slide the bed decking back into its place and toss your pillows up on here however you want them, and you're back and running down the road. At night, you've got a couple little bags that hang at the back of the van for your glasses and your phone and whatever, and then you've got some nice little lights that hang here on the side of this, and kind of makes for a nice warm feeling in the overnight. The blackout curtain that you see kind of behind Louie's crate here, there are identical curtains that fit in all of the other windows through this van. And so at night when you put those up, it's nice and quiet in here, and nobody can see in, and you can't see out unless you want to. So it's real private and just very, very comfortable. A very, very safe place to spend an evening. A couple other points, quick points that folks would ask about, would wonder about is, what do you do for keeping things cold, drinks and food and whatever? We did not put a refrigerator in the van per se. We wanted to keep things real simple for us, and so we travel with a couple of coolers. And the cabinets or the seating are designed to accommodate that. But we have a cooler that fits under here. We're looking at it right here, and there's another one that's similar to it, slightly smaller. And frankly, that's all we need to keep food cold for a day or two that we'll be out, and then keeps drinks fresh and so on. And we don't generally need to, but if we need to refresh with ice, I mean, that's a real easy thing to do. You pull into when your gas stops and you grab a small bag of ice and you're off and running again. And that to us it works real well, and it was just a lot more straightforward than trying to kind of work out the detail of an operating refrigerator in a van. The other question, of course, that you'd have about a van like this is, what do you do for power? I mean, how do you power that toaster in the morning and the pump at night, and so a water pump at night and such? And our answer is, there's a couple of them down here. We travel with a Jackery Explorer 1000 power pack, which is more than enough power for us to do everything we need to do. Breakfast in the morning, hot chocolate at night. The little Jackery 1000 does a remarkable job of delivering power. Sitting next to it then in the cardboard boxes there is a live fuse block powered off the vehicle. And that, for example, is what runs the water pump in the middle of the night if you wanted to drink at 2 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. You're not having to turn the Jackery on, you just throw the switch, and that pump, the little power it requires, is pulled off the van. And again, it's real straightforward, and does everything we need it to do, and then some, actually. It was very easy to do, very simple. Frankly, I did that one myself, and it's just and it works just fine. All the power we need and then some. Now, one of the other interesting and real important questions that folks will have about any van conversion is, what do you do about ventilation? And that's a challenging question in a conversion like this. Again, this is a stock Ford Transit passenger van. So in that setup, the only windows that open are the passenger and the driver's side front windows. All the other windows in this van, both sides and all the back, they do not open. Now, there is an aftermarket aftermarket company that makes a window for the driver's side front window, which is the one that's got the curtain on it there, that's behind Louie's crate. They make a window, a replacement window for that window that would open. We didn't want the opening to be that far forward, so we've decided at this point that we'd probably be fine without open windows in the van, and as a matter of fact, we are fine with that. We can open when we need to in the summertime. If we want a little ventilation, we can open the passenger side and the driver's side front windows. We have a screen system that we can put over that and leave that window partially open. And then we've got a couple of fans, small USB chargeable fans that we can travel with and set them up on the countertop or whatever and move air around, and that has been more than sufficient for us. Wintertime, sleeping bag, blanket, whatever you might need for your comfort. But through down in the 20s in the wintertime, summertime, lows getting in the upper 70s, low 80s, which is still pretty warm. The van has slept very, very comfortably. So, and not any to speak of moisture accumulation. So now if you're going to be in it for days and days, that might be an issue. But for what we're trying to do here, which is, one night out, we've been real comfortable with minimal ventilation. I think if you wanted to spend more time in it, you might want to invest in a roof vent for them. There's a lot of different options on roof vents you can install in these, and that would certainly bring a lot of air in and take a lot of air out of the van. We've decided not to do that now, and so far so good. I mean, we've been real comfortable with how this thing works. To the mechanics of the van and driving it, nothing fancy going on. It's the standard Ford Transit package. It does have the upgraded electronics, if you will, so it's got features like the adaptive cruise control and some of the safety features there that make it nice to drive, and a larger screen and such. But again, nothing real fancy in the van, but just very, very comfortable. Lots of room, and again, with its weight and the way they've got this thing set up to make it so easy to drive, it's actually just a pleasure to have on the road. Well, I think that pretty much does it for the quick tour, if you will. Again, a little unique in that it's a conversion on a low roof van, but this is, again, a Ford Transit standard passenger van, low roof, mid-length. It does what we need it to do really, really well, and that is to accommodate Kathy and I and Louie the dog in a picture of Louie later, coming up here in a bit, but accommodates the three of us for 1 or 2 nights out really, really well. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions on it about how we did it or why we did what we did, drop me a note in the comments, and I'll get back to you just as quickly as I can. Thanks, and have a good day. Hey, enjoy the pictures to follow. I'm going to throw up a few pictures of kind of how this thing progressed through time, and so stick around. Little music coming your way and some pictures, and enjoy.